Hey everybody, Magic Hour Movie Man here. This is another video in my ongoing series showing off my movie collection, DVDs and Blu-rays. And this video will highlight all the movies I own that start with the letter M. So we'll get right to it. Starting off with the Jon Favreau directed Made, the original Mad Max, which I do not own on Blu-ray yet. I know that it has either just come out or will be coming out soon, as well as Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. So I need to pick those up on Blu-ray. The Magnificent Seven, the Western version of Seven Samurai. And Magnum Force, the Dirty Harry movie, the second in the Dirty Harry Callahan movies. You'll also see this on Blu-ray in a minute, but there's my DVD version of Maltese Falcon. A Man for All Seasons. Here's where we hit all the Man movies. Man on Wire. Pretty cool documentary. Man from Colorado. Western with Glenn Ford and William Holden. Man Who Shot Liberty Valance with Jimmy Stewart and John Wayne. Man Who Wasn't There, Coen Brothers movie with Billy Bob Thornton. Man with One Red Shoe. I actually got this free from a box of cereal. The Manchurian Candidate. Let me back up on that. There you go. Manchurian Candidate. The original. Manhunter. First of the movies made about Hannibal Lecter. That was Michael Mann directed that. Marathon Man. Great flick with Dustin Hoffman and John Gielgud. And then The Mask. Just goofy fun from the 90s. Jim Carrey. Master and Commander. Great underrated movie. Need to pick up the Blu-ray at some point, although I've heard the transfer isn't so hot. Now here's a big old hunk of cheese. Masters of the Universe with Dolph Lundgren. Terrible movie, but God, I enjoy it for whatever reason. It's just, like I said, big hunk of cheese. Match Point. Matinee. Joe Dante movie with John Goodman. Meet Joe Black. I don't have the Blu-ray of this, but this is a neat little 2-disc edition that includes the Death Takes a Holiday from the 30s, I believe. And this is a great edition of Memento, the Shelby Leonard notebook edition. It's just very cool. Got that nice slipcase. Got your psychiatric report. It's got a post-it note in there, and it's done like a notebook. It's really a very cool edition. Opens up. I also have the Blu-ray, which you'll see in a Memento. Haha, get it, Memento. Oh God, how do I do it? Memory of a Killer. This is a pretty cool foreign film where an aging assassin who's dealing with the early stages of Alzheimer's. Memoirs of an Invisible Man. Men in Black, the original. This is the deluxe DVD edition that came out way back when. Mickey Blue Eyes. I thought that was a fun little romantic comedy. Mighty Joe Young. This might be blasphemy, but I actually enjoy this movie more than King Kong. Fun movie. Mighty Wind. Millions. The, what's the guy's name? Danny Boyle. Danny Boyle movie. The Minus Man, which I received from a great YouTuber not too long ago. Milady Mel. And I have watched it, and it will be coming up in a Film Noir Friday movie series. which I have yet to make. I'm looking for time to do that. Here's a spaghetti western, A Minute to Pray, A Second to Die. Here's a cool movie, and Shirley is giving her seal of approval, if you can hear. Miracle Mile, great movie. Anthony Edwards gets a phone call that was a wrong number from a guy at NORAD who's trying to call his parents to warn them nuclear missiles have been launched. And it's within that time frame he's trying to track down the girl of his dreams who he had just met, so that they can be together as the world gets destroyed. I'll go ahead and tell you a little story about this as my arm gets tired from holding this up. I actually saw this movie in a hotel room, a really cheap hotel room with a crappy TV, and I'd say about 10 minutes into the movie, the sound went out, and I was so pulled into the movie that I watched the rest of the movie with no sound and had no problem following what was going on. That's a pretty good indication that it's a well-made film. And for the longest time, I could never find the movie, so I had never seen it with sound up until, I'd say, about a year ago. Crazy Jason made a trip up here, down here, around here, whatever, and we went movie hunting, and we found this at a Big Lots and watched it, and I finally got to see it with sound, and it's a great movie. Alright, story time's over, kids. Back to the movies. Now we get into the Mr. movies, and first one we have is Mr. Deeds Goes to Town, the Frank Capra classic. And, of course, that's followed up with another Frank Capra classic, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Here's another free from a cereal box DVD, Mr. Mom. Gotta love Mr. Mom. And then the Alfred Hitchcock, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, one of his rare forays into another genre, in this case, romantic comedy. Alright, back to Cheese. Mom and Dad Save the World. Alright, moving on, we're getting into Monty Python territory, and the first thing is Monty Python's And Now for Something Completely Different. Their sketch comedy movie that they made before they started making the narrative films like Life of Brian. This is the Criterion Collection DVD. Monty Python's The Meaning of Life, if you can see that very well. A documentary about Monty Python. Monty Python, The Truth, The Lawyer's Cut, or Almost the Truth, The Lawyer's Cut. And I've got Monty Python and the Holy Grail somewhere else, so I'll show that off in a minute. But first, how about a good old-fashioned 80s TV movie? I used to have this recorded on VHS and enjoyed it quite a bit as a youngster. Now we're getting into Muppet territory. We've got the Muppet movie, the best of the Muppet movies that have been made, in my opinion. I mean, come on, you got Orson Welles giving them the rich and famous contract. That's just awesome. And another free from a cereal box DVD, and that's The Muppets Take Manhattan. I don't have cover art, so just showing that. And Muppets from Space. Little tidbit for you. I'm all about story time, so here's another story for you. I was an extra in this movie, and if you look in the end of the movie where Gonzo is waiting for his people to land in their spaceships, you'll see me pretty much front and center behind the Muppets, holding the hand of a little kid. The little kid that I'm with is the director of photography's son. So as an extra, when you're told, hey, could you look after the director of photography's son during the shoot? You know you're pretty much going to get screen time because he's going to want his kid on screen. So, yeah. So, there you go. I'm famous. What can I say? Great documentary, Murder Ball. Great film noir, Murder, My Sweet. Western, Henry Fonda, My Darling Clementine. Where he plays Wyatt Earp. Another great documentary, My Kid Could Paint That. And then the Clint Eastwood classic, Mystic River. Here's my DVD version of Monty Python and the Holy Grail. It's a collector's edition. Let's see if I can open it up. It's a little dusty too. Comes with, oh, it's broken. But it comes with the screenplay, a film cell, and then there's a second disc in there.